Well, it's Holy Thursday, and darkness has descended on Jerusalem. Its residents had finished their Passover meals, and the lamb and unleavened bread had been consumed. A conference was underway with the Jewish High Council, some officers of the temple guard, and one of Jesus' closest friends, Judas. In the secluded hillside Olive Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus sits with his other 11 closest friends. The 11 could not stay awake. Jesus could not sleep. Earlier that evening, Jesus had shared with his disciples the Passover meal. For the angel of death was coming to claim him. God's judgment was about to fall. Jesus, the Passover lamb, would be slain to take away the sins of the world. Jesus had taken bread and wine and said to his 11 brothers, "This is my body and this is my blood." And in doing so, the old Passover was no longer needed and the new Passover had begun. Among the olive trees, Jesus was praying, and he often prayed in secluded places, yet never had he known desolation like this. In this garden of prayer, Jesus looked deeply into the Father's cup. He was about to drink, and he was terrified. Everything in his human flesh wanted to flee the impending physical torture of crucifixion. And in his spirit, groaned with the painful dread at the far greater impending spiritual torture of being forsaken by his Father. Such was his distress over the very thing he had come to accomplish. He stressed out and figuring out, is there a different way to do what I came to do? So he cries out to his Father in an honest prayer, "Father, all things are possible for you. So remove this cup from me. Remove it. Let's do something else. I know I came for this event, but the pain and the emotional and spiritual trauma is too overwhelming." So he's just honest. Can we do it a different way? And then he says the most powerful 9 words you can say. 9 words that if every human said, our world would look different. He says, "Yet not my will, but your will be done." 9 words. "Yet not my will, but your will be done." Jesus, having longed and even pleaded to be delivered from God's will, expresses in these 9 simple words a humble submission to God's will that was more beautiful than all the glory in the created heavens and earth combined. 9 of the most powerful, beautiful words a human can pray. As Jesus prayed these 9 words, the first drops of blood seeped out of his pores. Barely a kilometer away in the high priest's courtyard, his betraying disciple was preparing to lead a small torch-bearing contingent of soldiers and servants to arrest him in this garden. Friends, 9 words. "Yet not my will, but your will be done." No one understands better than God how difficult it can be for a human to embrace the will of God. And no human has suffered more in embracing the will of God than Jesus. When Jesus calls us to follow him, whatever the cost, he's not calling us to do something he's either unwilling to do or has never done himself. No human has suffered more in embracing the will of God than Jesus. This is why, on this Holy Week, we are really focusing in, as the writer of Hebrews says, to focus on Jesus, the author and the perfecter of our faith. Holy Week is about just getting recalibrated to who Jesus was and is and what he did for you and I. Jesus, today, wherever you are at in life, he understands far better than we do what it's like to willingly and faithfully endure the sometimes excruciating, momentary, painful will of God for the sake of the eternal joy set before him. So this Holy Thursday, let's practice the prayer of Jesus in the garden. Whenever you pray, pray for everything. Pray, "God, I don't want this, I want this." Pray whatever you want, as long as you end it with those 9 words. "Yet not my will, but your will be done." I'm glad you've joined us this week. This last week, it's loaded. It's loaded. I mean, there's so much going on, but it started Sunday with the triumphal entry where people's expectations of Jesus being an earthly king, but he came to be the eternal king. Monday is Jesus throwing the pigeon sellers out of the temple, making sure our houses are a house of worship open to all peoples. And then on Tuesday, he challenges us to pour out our lives as a fragrant offering, as that woman poured out her perfume, a year's worth, all over him. And then he talked about, be ready for my return. You never know when it's going to happen. Be ready, invest your life, and love my brothers and sisters who the world deems the least of these. And then he ends on Thursday with maybe the greatest example of how to live life, to make our prayer life about, yet not my will, but your will be done. So tomorrow, I want to invite you tomorrow to our Good Friday service at 4 o'clock. Tomorrow, we're going to look at some powerful words Jesus shared at the cross. Powerful words that not only describe him, but give us great hope. For tomorrow, we are going to look and see that God's will that Jesus prayed for was done. And then, Sunday, we're going to celebrate the power and the liberation of the resurrection. It's going to be a party, 10 o'clock on Sunday. We're coming to celebrate. As the angel told the woman at the open tomb, don't be afraid. I know you're looking for Jesus. He is not here. He has been resurrected, just as he said. God bless you, and I hope to see you tomorrow, and I hope to see you Sunday.